It's important to be aware of social emotional concerns. At the beginning of March, the National Association of School Psychologists put out an article about talking to kids about COVID-19, the importance of talking to kids, and things we can do to help them get through it. Talking to kids about the virus and the pandemic is especially hard for those that have language and learning disabilities. And those can be addressed through resources like the Child Mind Institute, which has specific strategies and tips for talking to students with autism about COVID-19. Additionally, in the resources section, I have included some references to social stories that you might find useful about talking to kids about COVID-19. What about parents that want more services? We always have parents that want more. And you're probably thinking, really? At a time like this? But acknowledge that they probably feel overwhelmed and just want help. So think about the bottom line of what it is that they want. It's important to listen to their concerns. They might be coping with the whole situation, or just they're upset about the fact that the service delivery model is forced to be different and there's nothing anyone can do about it. You might have parents that are requesting for telepractice services and it's really not appropriate for them. Maybe they have poor equipment, or many of their things that we've talked about earlier in this presentation might be factors for them. Remember, our only option is not necessarily the best option, and it's important to tell that to parents, to explain that. Explain limitations and concerns openly, and be honest. You can try it and show that it doesn't work. They are worried about their children and they doubt their skills. They might lack confidence in their own abilities, and they really need that encouragement that we just talked about a few minutes ago. They're probably scared about the child's return to school. Really take care to remind them of the challenge for everybody. Encourage them to practice carryover skills with family members in a functional environment. Remind them that this is an opportunity for them to set goals based on their own situation and their own values and interests, but they are the ones in control. We aren't going to work on whatever they tell us to. They need some ownership. And these are the parents that are likely to demand homework and want a highly structured distance learning plan. So let's look at some homework activities. While we take these measures and get used to doing things differently, it's important to recognize that video conference is still indirect. It's just closer to the green side of the continuum compared to other forms of indirect social communication. And then, when we remove the elements of being able to see or hear the other person, such as with a text or an email, the communication then becomes even more indirect. Those methods of communication are closer to the red end of the spectrum, and I've chosen to put them in orange. I've selected different colors as a way to visually display differences in social communication in order to highlight some of our obstacles to speech and language progress. Since we have so many parents of young children working from home right now, usually on a computer, there is definitely a significant increase in the amount of screen time young children experience. The key is to not make families feel guilty. Many of them already do. They may recognize that this is not the healthiest choice for their children, but it's really not something that can be avoided. They need to get their work done. Many parents will express their concerns and ask questions, especially in light of recent screen time research. Or you may have parents that are just completely unaware. Either way, we can make some recommendations on how to shape screen time so that it increases the degree of social communication and also minimizes the negative outcomes. Specifically, you might recommend to a family that asks if they're able to work next to their child while they're on their screen, and if they can avoid the use of headphones. While this still isn't ideal and attention will still be divided, it would allow the parent and the child to be physically available to initiate an interaction. This also promotes co-viewing, which is when you are able to see and hear the same thing as the child. Co-viewing is also the best way to monitor content. And content is another way to shape screen time so that it's more appropriate. This is why TV is usually a better screen choice for young children than a phone or tablet or an individual device. E-learning is also an opportunity to teach digital social skills, which is a need anyway, but given the e-learning going on, it's even to a greater degree. Having virtual class discussions, for example, involves a significant degree of pragmatic language skills. There's turn taking, for example. You have to mute yourself and unmute yourself, and you still have to wait your turn to talk. It can be tricky to figure out. Also, there's a chat option. Most teachers disable the chat, but if students use it, it's almost like talking while the teacher is talking. It's a different concept to learn. There's also topic maintenance. You can't throw off the whole topic of the meeting by saying something totally random. And then we have emoji reactions to go along with that topic maintenance. When is it appropriate to use which one? It's also a form of active listening, just virtually. Confidentiality is not only for clients, but also for clinicians, families, and community members. Say you're in a Zoom meeting near a window and your neighbor walks by. Now they're actually on the internet in your Zoom meeting without even knowing it, and perhaps they're being recorded. Be mindful of your background, including personal pictures that you might have around. And let your clients know to do the same. Do they realize that when their students move a laptop even just a little bit, it could potentially expose personal information? Maybe something like an appointment reminder posted on the fridge in the background, containing a medical record number. Yes, teletherapy is not malicious, but we should not get into the habit of these exposures if they could be avoided. More examples of activities that families can do together that actually can become speech and language activities include singing and dancing, making up your own song lyrics, storytelling, like maybe you have a contest, like who can tell the scariest story. Telling jokes. Joke books are amazing for language. I personally have a joke book in my therapy room because I know it's such a great language task. But the family might not realize that. And laughter is so healthy. The act of reading aloud is a great speech and language development task. The site Reading Rockets, also listed in my references, has demonstration videos for parents on how to read to special needs children. Encourage them to explore functional stories like The Cat in the Hat when the kids are stuck in the house. There are a lot of ebooks available for free right now. Ebooks are not going to be as good as books, but it's better than nothing. Talking about the current situation can also be relevant to speech and language. Answering questions like, why are supplies short? Why can't we waste food right now? Why do we need to wash our hands? lots of question asking can come out of the current situation. Reviewing a social story together might be an interactive thing for the family as well, for a parent and child to go over what is really happening and help the child understand. Again, many free social stories about what's happening right now, or even some that are available for a small fee. Another play idea is to have a child play school. Maybe the family has an easel in their house, and if not, taping a piece of paper to a sliding glass door can work too. That can be equally as effective. Or since kids are used to smartboards, you could have the family turn the TV on, like hook their presentation up to the TV, and they could actually practice giving their presentation to a live audience, maybe a presentation that they've had to design for school.